Welcome to Bayamon on the Caribbean island of Puerto Rico for the second world ranking event of the new archery season. We're here at the Juan Ramon Lubriel Stadium for the individual gold medal matches for the men's and women's events here at this world ranking event. So 4 matches to come. I'm Karen Bashir, and joining me is former world number 1 from Great Britain, Nikki Hunt. Nikki, it's a new season. How important are these early ranking events?
Yeah, it's really important. You know, these archers would have spent their winter season working on some of their techniques, and now it's time to put it into practice. And you want to come out here and shoot really, really well ahead of the new season.
Yeah, perhaps more important for some athletes more than others. Doubles up this competition as the Central American and Caribbean Games 2023 Continental Qualifier. So there'll be some out there thinking about those regional championships.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, great opportunities to be part of a games, so they'll definitely want to take some spots there. It goes to that tournament in El Salvador in 2023.
Well, as you can see, we're getting ourselves ready for the compound gold medal matches on the 50-meter range, and we are almost ready to get underway as the officials and the coaches come out. Time now to welcome the athletes here for this gold medal match. One I'm sure you've heard of. The other is a bit of a newbie. Let's go down to the field of play for the athlete introductions. So here we go. Daphne Quintero of Mexico is 20 years old, has no world ranking. The World Youth Team gold medalist in 2019 and 2021. The Junior Pan American champion of last year. It's her first senior medal going up against the greatest of all time, Sarah Lopez from Colombia. The 26-year-old has already won 6 Hyundai Archery World Cup finals, and she's in the lineup here. The world number 1 to get this compound women's gold medal match underway.
Yes.
Pressure on the young Mexican, but seemingly no fear at all.
Sometimes that's the best way, isn't it, Karim? You know, you've come into this, you've got no expectations, you're up against the best archer of all time. There's nothing to lose, surely.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, well, got off to a flyer here. A 30 for Sarah Lopez. And look how quickly these archers are shooting their arrows. And a perfect from Daphne Quintero as well. What a start, Nikki.
Yeah, we didn't expect much less, did we, from Sarah Lopez? But as I say, for a young archer to come out here and shoot as well as she has, maybe it's just no expectations. You know, she's got nothing to prove. She's the underdog, and sometimes that's the best place mentally to be.
A great start from the world number 1, Sarah Lopez. Spent more time at the number 1 spot in the world than any other archer since 2006 in the modern era, effectively, in world archery. 6 times Hyundai Archery World Cup final winner as well. Looking incredibly solid, but up against the young pretender. Except we can't really call her a pretender. The 20-year-old has shot a perfect 30 to get this one underway. Nikki, the wind is a bit of a factor here today. It's gusty, and you archers don't like that.
Yeah, that's right. We can see those feather flags on the left-hand side of the venue, so they're going to give a lot of information to the archers. The windsock right at the end there as well. They're going to have to keep their eyes on those flags and adjust accordingly.
Well, 30 apiece. The agents have collected the arrows from the targets and disappeared behind cover. Range is safe. Time for the second end. Sara Lopez will shoot first again. Just drifting out to the right, so perhaps that wind playing its part.
Sara shooting really quickly, isn't she? I think that might be adding a little bit more pressure onto the Mexican.
Finishes with a 29 in that end, so will be ahead. And ahead by 2 with a 27 there from Quintero. You talked about shooting really quick, and for those that are perhaps not as au fait with the sport, what difference does that make? You say it puts more pressure on how?
Yes, I mean, these archers got 20 seconds to shoot that arrow, and then the clock alternates back to your opponent. So, I mean, Sara is quite well known for this. She shoots very quickly in these final matches, so it doesn't give you much time to get yourself set up, take a breath between the shots, and get started again. So sometimes I think that can play a factor, especially perhaps in windy conditions as well. You've really got no chance to pick a time to shoot in. You've just given the time that's left.
A little conversation there between Quintero and Lopez. I wonder what that was about.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what they would be discussing. It's not normal for your archers to be talking between ends. You usually just focus on your own target.
I think it shows how relaxed Daphne Quintero of Mexico is on the left-hand side. Her first senior medal will be won here in Puerto Rico, and she's there having a little chin wag with the world #1. It's incredible. Trailing by 2, though, she goes into the third end. Will shoot first. Deep breath. Time to go through the process. Just outside and to the left at first sight, so in the 9. Oh, you saw the look on Lopez's face. She knew that wasn't going in.
Yeah, she probably just wasn't quite ready for it to go off, and off it went, so just dropped slightly low, like a shot she had before.
So a 28 for an 85 here, and you can do the maths. It's a 9. It could have been worse, but still very healthy now for Lopez. 3-3. She still leads by 2. And there's 2 things. One is having had a little reflection on perhaps that conversation going on between Quintero and Lopez between ends 2 and 3. I wonder if she's saying, hey, you know what? I'm not used to shooting against someone who just relentlessly shoots their arrows. But what I did notice there is Quintero was getting set up very quickly in that end. Yeah,
maybe she, just made that quick change where she thought, you know what, I've got to utilise this time well. Like I said, they've only got 20 seconds, so if Sara's quickly pushing that stop clock back to her, yeah, she's made a change, hasn't she, of her own tactics to get there quicker. She's got more time then to actually shoot her shot.
Intriguing battle. Lopez, though, with the advantage of 2 points, looking very relaxed indeed. Ready to go for end number 4. 15 arrows in total, and it's an accumulator in compound archery, so really it's about who's leading after the next 6 arrows from each of the archers. 2 points really isn't clear ground just yet for Lopez. End number 4, Quintero on the shooting line. and back into the middle of the target.
Just saw a little bit of sway on Sarah's last shot. Body sway, didn't sway at all on that one, but that one was the one that was just out.
Well, what a great end there for a 1-1-5. She's going to have closed the gap by at least one. Lopez going left nines and left again. It looks like a 9-10-9 for her. And that means we are all square. But that second arrow may well be measured, Nikki.
Yeah, it's possible, isn't it? If something's touching, so the judge will go down and have a look at it. If they feel that that arrow is just touching the black line of the 10 ring, they will call it up. But we'll have to wait for that decision. But great group from Sarah. They were just all left, weren't they? So we've seen that wind coming from left to right. Maybe she's just overcompensated a little bit. Compounders don't tend to actually aim off. If you look really closely at their sights, they've got a magnified sight with a spirit level in, and some of them actually what we call bubble. So they'll cant the bow slightly towards the wind instead of actually aiming in a different spot.
We've got to look back at some of those shots and the piercing eyes of Lopez and Quintero willing their arrows into the 10. Now, it worked out really well for Quintero in that fourth end, and there was a big smile at the end of the fourth for Quintero. I think that's just about as much about a performance in that end as in the fact that she is level on score, and perhaps with the judgment of the score, she could well be a point ahead going into the fifth and final end. Well, it looks like it will be Sarah Lopez who will shoot first. We're just waiting for the confirmation of the scores, and we got it in. That 9-star was marked as a 10, so all square. This gold medal match between Quintero and Lopez comes down to the final three arrows. Lopez to shoot first in the fifth and final end. Door open. 3 10s. Her last three arrows, Quintero. That's the fourth in a row, and a mini advantage for the Mexican.
Just see that little bit of body movement again, a little bit of sway. She's been so unlucky. Look at those shots down the target. We're just out. They're not far out. A bit of a longer hold.
So it comes down to the final arrow here. All square 134. That's in the 9. So a 143 for Sarah Lopez. A 10 and a win, and a massive win. Oh, that is close. That is very close indeed. If it's touching the line, if it's just cutting the line, it will be gold for Daphne Quintero of Mexico against Sarah Lopez, the superstar of world archery. The Colombian just slightly off on the last couple of ends, and it waits patiently for the scores to be confirmed by the target judge. Any thoughts, Nikki?
It was tight. I think it might have caught the line, you know. I feel quite positive about it. I think it might have been in for her, so I think they're looking pretty positive between herself and the coach as well. The coach stood behind there with a spot and scope, so they can see down the range. They've got a pretty good idea. You can't allow yourself as an athlete to think you've won it until you actually have, because this could go to that shoot-off. So you can't have that emotion of won and relax. You've got to stay with it at this point.
Oh, I think we forgive the 20-year-old in her first major final against Sara Lopez. I know what you mean. You're 100% correct, but wow, this would be some win. And there it is. Confirmation, I think, that says it all. She's come from behind. A welcome to the pinnacle of the sport. Daphne Quintero of Mexico, the 20-year-old, has taken this Puerto Rican World Archery Cup here in 2022, and she's beaten Sara Lopez to do it. Magnificent performance. Nikki Hunt, what a start to our live coverage here from Puerto Rico.
Well, that was not what we were expecting, was it? We expected Sara Lopez to come out here exploding onto the stage, but I mean, she didn't miss by much. She had a lot of arrows just into the 9, but they were only just into the 9, so not big mistakes, but they were costly.
Yeah, and to be fair to Daphne Quintero, she had to come back from behind as well.
Yeah, she did. Fantastic shooting from her. 2 ends of 30 as well, and real pressure in the last.
Well, Daphne Quintero of Mexico has taken the compound women's gold here in Puerto Rico. We move our attention now to the compound men's division, and it's Colombia versus Mexico again. Jagdeep Singh Mayer against Rodrigo Alvera. Let's go down for the athlete introductions. So time for Jagdeep Singh Mayer of Colombia, the 21-year-old world number 110, to take on Mexico's 20-year-old Rodrigo Alvera. It's Alvera's first ever senior medal, the 2019 World Youth Bronze and 2021 World Youth Team Gold medalist, going up against Jagdeep Singh of Colombia, who took a bronze medal at the High-End Archery World Cup Stage 1 in Medellin in 2019. Will be Alvera to get us underway. Given the tricky wind conditions, Nikki, these archers are shooting at such high quality.
Yeah, they're shooting down the 50-meter range on an 80-centimeter target face. So the conditions here have really been tricky. It does move your arrows around. So they've just got to be as alert as possible.
Put this out of reach with a 9. Bit of a longer hold. Well, the correction pushed that one over to the right, so it's a 2-point lead for Alvera. Early stages here, but you know what? We were looking at that wind at the beginning. It was blustery, it was blowing from left to right, and now it's really settled off, and actually the clouds have cleared a little bit, and it's getting quite steamy out there.
Yeah, I think the mistake there, Jagdeep, I think he probably over-aimed off to the left and expected the arrows to move over. And they just didn't, and then, like you say, overcorrection and ended up to the right. So he knows where he is now. He needs to just settle somewhere in the middle, get himself into this match. But I think the Mexican archer was just a bit unlucky. That last arrow of his, I think, clipped a previous arrow in the 10 and deflected out into the 9. So it could have been perfect for him.
Good grouping nonetheless, but yeah, I think you're right. It clipped one of the feathers perhaps on one of the other arrows and just ever so slightly changed its direction. So confirmation.
Look at those win flags now. You know, look at the changes we had from the previous match where they're all blown left to right. They've all changed and got much stiller.
Yeah, it really has, isn't it? It's confirmation of the scores then. The 27 plays 29, and it will be Jagdeep Singh who will shoot first. Let's see Singh Mayer on his scoreboard. It's not a very Colombian name, is it, Jagdeep Singh? It comes from another continent, doesn't it?
Just dropping that one down. I mean, he looks like he's got this slightly high shoulder. He just pressed it down into the 8.
Well, recovery there of sorts from Jagdeep Singh. But a 55 opens the door for more of a lead here. Rather slightly long hold on the final arrow. But that does open the lead up by a single point. 58 plays 55. And it's Rodrigo Alvera of Mexico who's leading the way after 2 of 5 ends. Nikki, we talked right at the top about the importance of these early world ranking events and how critical it is to start the season. But with the lack of competition, let's put it that way, over the last 2 and a bit years, we're seeing the emergence of some young talent that we perhaps haven't seen before on the senior circuit. Is there, in some respects, the coaches sort of saying to the athletes, listen, there's not really a huge amount to worry about here, just go out and perform? I know that's what you as a coach would say to your athletes anyway, but is there less pressure on them now because of the break?
I don't know. I mean, the standard is so high. There's so much depth, particularly in men's compound archery. I think you've got to go with that attitude. Doesn't matter. Go out there, have fun, enjoy it. You've done the hard work. This is your time just to relax and enjoy your shooting.
Well, Alvera is leading by 3, so it will be Jagdeep Singh Mayer from Colombia who'll shoot first. Needs to start digging into this deficit. Drifting off to the left, and I'm not sure he knows what happened there. Another one drifting over to the left. Nikki, wind, do you think?
Or possibly lack of. You know, we've seen those flags kind of switch up, and you've got to be on your game here. You've got to be looking around you, seeing what's happening. If you haven't noticed, when you're looking through that side of the compound, you can't see the flags. You're only looking at the target face. So you've got to make those decisions before you even draw up and just feel what's going on.
Alvera making some changes and looking a little concerned for the first time. And a good recovery from Singh Mayer for an 83, but a 10 would maintain the 3-point lead. And he has just got that into the 10. So 86 plays 83. So here's my next question. So many technical questions for you, Nikki Hunt. I know that I'm putting you under the cosh a little bit here, but why are we seeing every now and again, and it's happening more regularly now, a longer hold from Rodrigo Alvera?
Right, what's really interesting about this guy is he's shooting a trigger. So he's coming up, he's putting his thumb onto the release, onto the trigger. Watch his little finger, because what happens is his little finger makes a movement just before he hits the trigger, so you can see what's happening. So he's basically just struggling to commit to the shot a little bit, and you can see a little bit of the pressure come off as well on his shots. That's why I think he's dropping low. So just watch this little finger. It moves, then he hits the trigger. So there's an anticipation of the shot, which means the power where you're pushing and pulling that bow to keep it moving, or at least on the wall static in compound, it just eases off a little bit. I think that's why they're dropping low.
So the key here is to look at Alvera's backhand, the one that's drawing the string on the bow. Mexican leading by 3, so it will be Singh to shoot first. And he's got himself back into a bit of a rhythm here. That looked like it just cut the line for a 10. That little finger dropping down.
I think he changed his mind on that shot. You saw the little finger move, he came off again, he went on again, and then he hit it. So it's really interesting to see. You can literally see what's going on in his mind. Ready for it? So draw back. You can see that thumb on the backhand, wrapping around the trigger now. Look at the little finger. He's ready. He's not. He's come off.
Yeah, it's intriguing, isn't it?
Whereas, you know, he's got a 3-finger release aid here, but his 4th finger's really wrapped into it, so he's controlling those fingers much more easily.
So what was the difference there?
I mean, there's a small movement again, wasn't there? But he just looked a little bit more settled on that shot.
Yeah, he did. It was fascinating to see these tiny variables that make this sport so interesting. And you're talking about the movement of one digit on one hand that's making all the difference to the performance of this 20-year-old Rodrigo Alvera from Mexico. Shooting on target 2 here at the Puerto Rico Archery World Cup of 2022. Second world ranking event of the season. We had our first finished yesterday in Thailand. These events do tend to attract more of a regional participation. That's why we're seeing athletes from Colombia and Mexico. And this little battle has become incredibly interesting now. We're looking at the youngster Rodrigo Alvera from Mexico leading 114-112 against a slightly more experienced and still only 21-year-old Jagdeep Singh here shooting first in end number 5. Just seems to have found his rhythm, the Colombian.
Yeah, got far more confidence, hasn't he? Settled in, got his spot where he needs to aim, got his sight right. Watch that little finger again, off it goes.
Mini opportunity here then to close the gap up. Oh dear, a longer hold, but somehow gets away with it. So a good finish for a 141. But you can do the maths. And that 9 should be enough. I think one of those arrows is actually going to get marked down here, but a 2-point lead after the 5 ends means that Alvera, even if he gets a point marked off, is still going to take gold. Nikki, your thoughts on that arrow being marked down potentially?
Yeah, I think he had a first one was kind of 9 start, wasn't it? Probably, I don't know, probably out. So we'll have to see what they think. But I think it's enough, like you say.
We wait for confirmation. Looks like he's done it here. body language sense suggests he has. Rodrigo Alvera of Mexico has taken gold here. We still await confirmation of the final score, but he's done enough to take the Puerto Rico Archery World Cup. We're still waiting for confirmation of the score, but I can tell you that Rodrigo Alvera of Mexico, the 20-year-old, has claimed his first ever World Senior medal here in Puerto Rico. So there we have it, confirmation that Rodrigo Alvera of Mexico has taken the gold medal in the compound men's individual here at the Puerto Rico Archery Cup of 2022. He's beaten Jagdeep Singh of Colombia in the final. That is his first senior medal, and it's a gold one.
Saludos, bienvenidos. Estamos aquí en el Puerto Rico Archery Cup y México sale con la medalla de oro en lo que es el compuesto tiro con arco y tenemos a la medallista de oro de México, Daphne Quintero, que derrotó a Sara López 144 a 143. Daphne, ¿qué te pareció tu rendimiento en algo que fue para comerse las uñas?
La verdad me sentí, pues, como bien se dice, en mi punto. Cada disparo lo disfruté. Y esa competencia me gustó mucho en general.
Y tuviste enfrentarte a la número 1 del mundo. Me estabas hablando fuera de cámara que habías manifestado que en algún momento esto iba a ocurrir. ¿Cómo te sientes luego de pasar esa experiencia e irte al último tiro?
No, pues súper contenta porque a quien no le gustaría pues ganarle a su ídolo. La verdad, yo cuando recién empecé, pues siempre dije, ay, algún día voy a ser como Sara. Algún día quiero que me toque tirar contra ella y pues hoy se dio.
¿Y cuáles son los planes futuros para Daphne Quintero, que salió con una medalla de oro de aquí de Puerto Rico?
Pues de aquí para adelante y seguir con estos buenos resultados, seguir con la selección mayor y viajar con ellos a las Copas del Mundo.
Así que muchas felicidades, Daphne, mucho éxito en lo que resta de tu carrera, que falta mucho todavía, es mucha juventud. Y ahora vamos a pasar con el medallista de oro en compuesto masculino, también de México, Rodrigo Alvera. Rodrigo, muchas felicidades. Fue difícil esta final. ¿Cómo te sientes?
Pues muy feliz de que al final se dio el resultado que esperaba. La verdad es que pues es mi primera competencia internacional en la selección mayor. Ya estaba en la selección juvenil, pero pues estar con los grandes pues claro te pone más nervioso y pues me da mucho gusto que llegue a la final y pues que la gané.
¿Y qué ajustes consideras que tuviste que hacer ahora, como mencionas, vienes de una selección juvenil a una selección adulta? ¿Cuál fue la diferencia para ti en este torneo?
Pues yo creo que el entrenamiento es diferente, o sea, cada plan de entrenamiento se ajusta a cada objetivo. Este era quedar en la selección, pues era el mayor objetivo de este año, se cumplió gracias a Dios. Reajustamos los objetivos para este evento, para ganar las plazas y pues un ambiente totalmente diferente, pero pues que me gusta mucho y espero seguir en selección mayor por muchos años más.
Excelente. Y por último, ¿cuáles son los planes futuros para Rodrigo Alvera, que salió con una medalla de oro de Puerto Rico?
Pues seguir entrenando y viajar a las Copas del Mundo con la selección y pues estar entre los mejores del mundo. O sea, si las cosas se dan y si sigo mis planes de entrenamiento como se debe, pues yo creo que se puede estar, México es una potencia en tiro con arco y creo que se puede estar por lo menos en el top 10 del mundo.
Así que estamos hablando con Rodrigo Alvera, que es uno de las jóvenes promesas de México y esta ha sido por nosotros en esta primera parte, pero quédense con nosotros que vamos para también recurvo masculino y femenino en la final.
Well, Nikki, I'm going to have to lean on the fact that you're a fluent Spanish speaker there. No, joking aside. Look, fabulous performance from these two 20-year-old Mexicans here. And I think that the key thing for them in these early stages of the season is the fact that it's a strong nation, Mexico, isn't it? And they're putting their marker down very early in the season to bid for places on that high under archery World Cup circuit.
Yeah, they really are. Fantastic nation, lots of medals behind them, lots of expectation going forward into this season. And like we said before, what better than to come into a tournament like this as a kind of almost a warm-up event for the World Cups and do so well. So they're going to take a lot from that and a lot of confidence going into this season.
Well, the compound medals have been decided. Mexico have got both of them. We now move our attention to the recurve competition. We start with the recurve women's gold medal match. And guess what? It's going to be another gold for Mexico because we've got two of them. Let's go down to the field of play for the introductions. So athletes and the line judge introduced. Alejandra Valencia of Mexico is the world number 6. The 27-year-old will be well known to archery fans around the globe, and she will be expected to be the favorite here for a matchup against her teammate Valentina Vasquez. The 19-year-old is the world number 29. She's on target number 1, and it will be Vasquez to get this recurve gold medal match underway. We move on to the 70-meter range and the set system in recurve archery. Nikki, early days, so give us a little refresher on how the set system works for recurve archers.
Yeah, so each archer is going to shoot 3 arrows, alternate. It's best of 5 sets. So if you get to 6, you've won. 5 all would go to the tie.
Target score for the win and the gold medal here, 6 points. And mini advantage for Alejandra Valencia. Just pushed off down and left. It's not what she would have been looking for. And the first 10 of the match from Valencia to secure the set points in set number 1. We know Valencia well. We've seen her many times in the business end of tournaments. What say you about Valentina Vasquez? She's got a little bit of lean over on her draw at full draw. Anything in particular about her style that you like, that you've spotted?
Yeah, just a little bit of movement, isn't it, of her posture, her body position, like you say, when and she comes into full draw. But also, just watch out again for her bottom finger on the string. So, recurve archers, fingers are on the string with a piece of leather between the string and your fingers, called a finger tab. That bottom finger for the youngster is just kind of off the string, actually, if you look carefully.
And 2 set points go to Valencia. You talk about, I mean, you've talked about little fingers and those tiny little details. But one of the things you've said to me before is that when they get through that clicker, where the tip of the arrow is at full draw, and you'll see a little piece of metal flick across or a little bit of plastic flick across, and that's their signal, if you like, to release. And you watch Valencia, she just opens her backhand and the arrow just flies. And that's, I think, what probably, I sound like I know what I'm talking about, of course, here. But when you talk about those details, that backhand, it really is crucial because you can see the difference. We go into the second set, and it's Valentina Vasquez who will shoot first. And it's still drifting off to the left.
So just have a look at this draw then. So she comes into anchor, all 3 fingers are on the string, and then she elbow comes round at the back, and you see that bottom finger just almost slip off the string. So she's taken a lot of the weight of the bow just on 2 tendons, 2 fingers. And these girls are probably pulling in the region, Valencia probably in the region of 45 pounds on her fingers. Don't know about the youngster, perhaps over 40 still. So it's quite a lot of weight.
Well, the weight of pressure is here now because Vasquez can get right back in this. She's got a 9 for the 25, which is enough. And she will be level at the end of this. But that second arrow from Valencia, a little wild, wasn't it? Way off to the right.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been the wind. We've got those flags down the left-hand side. Look, she's talking to her coach about fingers come off the string there, so maybe it was a release error. But these conditions are changeable. We've seen that today already. We've got those feather flags down the left-hand side of the field, and really got to pay attention to that. Recurve bows are travelling, the arrows travelling at maybe 200 feet per second down that 70-metre range, and they really are affected by the wind, much more so than the compounders that we've seen already.
Yeah, and a 22 for Valencia is an unusually low score, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. You know, normally expect much higher from her, but here we are. We're out here at one of the first tournaments, outdoor tournaments of the year. This is where, you know, if you've introduced any new techniques, new things you've been working on, you come in here to test them under pressure. It's so hard to simulate the conditions like this. Now, when you're standing on a stage, you've got cameras, you've got people calling. It's hard to simulate this in your own training. So come here now and practice all these things you've been training for.
Well, an unhappy looking Alejandra Valencia at the end of the second set. There's 2 apiece here between these two. The 2 Mexicans dueling it out. Start of the third, and it will be Valentina Vasquez who's got herself back into the match to shoot first.
So what's interesting about those first 2 shots for me, the angle of Vasquez's first arrow, you can just see how it's not straight in the target. It's really angled off to the right, so I really think she got caught by the wind there. Now she's probably over-aimed off left to try and compensate for that first arrow.
Meanwhile, Valencia's just smashing it into the middle, so she's perhaps contending with the gusty conditions just a little bit better, a little bit more experience making the difference here. So another 25 easily achievable here for Valencia, and a first perfect. What a time to do it. Now, that is not only great for her confidence, but it could be quite demoralizing for the 19-year-old.
Yeah, I think after that second set, she really wanted to come back and nail it. She did just that, you know, really committing to her shot. She looks so solid, and there may well be that advantage of the poundage of the bow. Valencia might be on a much higher poundage bow. I'm only suggesting that she's older, more experienced. She's probably been able to go up in her poundage more because of the length of time she's been shooting for, the training she's put in. And, you know, in conditions like this, if you can handle it, you've trained for it, then it can be advantageous.
Looking very relaxed indeed. Valencia shooting incredibly well when the wind was starting to cause some problems by the looks of things for Vasquez. So 4-2 here. Valencia, the slightly more experienced Mexican, leading her teammate Vasquez. 6 the target for the gold medal. Valencia could do this in the 4th. But it's Valentina Vasquez, the teenager from Mexico, who will shoot first, putting down the markers here to put some pressure on her opponent.
Just look at the difference in the back elbow heights as well. So look at the draw here, comes into anchor, and then she goes up and round. This is why that finger comes off the string a little bit, but look at the height of that back elbow, pretty much eye level, right? And then we'll compare. See what Valencia looks like. Can you see how it's just along the line of the arrow, much lower? Her power's coming around her back better. More powerful shot.
Huge pressure on this shot, and a little hint of a smile there from Valencia. She knows this is now all in her hands. Well, grouping not so bad there, but this is the opportunity. A 7 for the title. And that looks like it was just about enough. The 7 was all that she required, and that is all that she got. Alejandra Valencia has won the Puerto Rico Archery Cup of 2022, beating her teammate here 6 set points to 2 in 4 sets. Experience playing a big part in that, but what an opportunity to learn for the teenager from Mexico. Valentina Vasquez, I'm sure we'll see more of, but it's Alejandra Valencia who will be on top of the podium here in the Caribbean.
Blanco 1, 8, 8, 9, Blanco 2, 10, 9, 7.
Well, Nikki, in the end, there was some technical things that you were talking about, but it was the handling of the wind certainly in the 3rd set that saw Valencia really storm ahead with a perfect score, and then she just finished things off. Experience beating youth, I think, on this occasion.
Yeah, she's such an experienced archer. She's strong. She's got fabulous technique. And okay, she had a 5. Remember that as well. And she didn't let it bother her. She came back with that 30. And that is a sign of a champion. You know, let go of those arrows. It didn't go your way. Come back even stronger.
So Recurve women's gold medal going to Alejandra Valencia here in Puerto Rico. Time very shortly for the men's gold medal match. Well, it's the tournament that keeps on giving. You always like someone from the home nation in the medal matches, and that's what we've got here to finish our live coverage from the Puerto Rico World Cup. Let's go down for the athlete introductions. We're shooting on target number 2. It's going to be his first shot at a medal, and he's going for gold, so he's definitely going to get one. It's the 24-year-old world number 208, Marco Lopez from Guatemala. He's going up against the home nation's Adrian Munoz, the 20-year-old, is the world number 86. 2 bronze medals in the Junior Pan Ams in the individual and team, but he's here going for gold on home soil. Munoz of Puerto Rico versus Lopez of Guatemala for gold in the Recurve men's individual. He's getting a lot of support as well, isn't he, Nikki?
Yeah, he really is. It's great to hear the home crowd really cheering for him, and yeah, it's exciting when you've got that atmosphere behind you.
Good start. Both a little low, but he's put himself in the box seat here. But all 4 arrows going low in the target. So 10 to share the first 2 set points. And it's a 10. Good recovery there from Marco Lopez. So 1 set point apiece. Before we get into Munoz, which I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot about because he is on home soil, but Marco Lopez, his first attempt at a senior medal here, going to get at least silver. We don't often see Guatemalans. There was, of course, a Hyundai Archery World Cup stage in Guatemala. Sport growing in that part of the world?
Yeah, you know, it really helps when an event is hosted in a country like that. It pushes people on, it drives them to be a part of that event. And yeah, hopefully we're seeing now that overspill into this event and then into the Caribbean and American, Central American games as well. So yeah, really good to see.
Well, the last arrow from Marco Lopez going into the 10 are only 10 of the match so far. And it does mean that we finish that first set all square. So 1 set point apiece, 5 regulation sets, and the target score is 6 for the win and the gold medal. Seems pretty cool in these steamy conditions here. The Puerto Rican on home soil to shoot first in set number 2. Well, both going a little right there, so I wonder if the wind is playing its part. You can just see the t-shirts ruffling a little bit, but it's so gusty. There's no consistency to the wind.
Yeah, it plays havoc with you as a recurver. You've really got to make the adjustments. You've got to aim off, and otherwise your arrow will be blown over. Perhaps like that.
It's a big opportunity to put this one out of reach. 7 or more. And that's gone into the middle for his first 10 and a 27. And you can hear what that means to the local crowd. He will definitely be 2 set points clear of his opponent after this set. But a good recovery. And that's what we like to see. Marco Lopez is not out of this by any stretch of the imagination. The set system allows for recovery because effectively the scores are reset at the beginning of each set. It was a remarkable recovery there, that 10 from after a 5.
Yeah, again, you know, you just got to put a bad arrow behind you. You probably got blown over there by the wind and push your reset button, your virtual reset button, come back with a strong arrow. I mean, Lopez has looked pretty strong in this match. That first set, 2 low 8s, he made that sight adjustment straight in the 10 and then just wavered a little bit. Whereas Munoz, as we just saw there, is doing lots of what we call steering or bow quando, if you like, whether he's throwing that front arm around to try and sort of almost steer the arrow into the middle, sort of almost knowing that where he aimed wasn't quite right or the feeling of the shot wasn't quite right and he needed to give it a little bit extra with that front arm.
Well, the Puerto Rican crowd here absolutely cock-a-hoop. Adrian Munoz 3-1 up after 2 sets. Leads Marco Lopez of Guatemala, and it will be Lopez to start set number 3. Very close to the line, marked as a 9 on our scoreboard. I think that may be subject to a measure. That's a clear score of 9, no.
Long hold here, bit of movement. So he got 20 seconds to shoot the shot. You can hear the wind in the microphones at the venue.
One to the right, one to the left. But we're talking about a 10-centimeter gold center of the ring there at 70 meters. And back into the middle. He's done that in every single set. It looks cool, but that's a very, very long hold for a 27. And like I said, the Puerto Rico Archery Cup is the tournament that just keeps on giving. And, well, subject to a measure on that first arrow, provisionally Lopez has leveled up. Now, do we think it's an 8 or a 9, that first arrow?
It is difficult to call, isn't it? You know, they need a little bit more clarity on the camera. I couldn't call it myself. What do you think, Karim?
I don't know. I can see the judge is wearing a very nice mask. It would be... Here we go.
10-9-9.
10-9-9. Now, that was the second target. I think that is a 28, plays 27. And Marco Lopez of Guatemala has got himself level at 3 apiece after 3 sets here in Puerto Rico against the Puerto Rican 20-year-old Adrian Munoz. So all square, we go into the last 2 regulation sets. It will be the home nation's Adrian Munoz to shoot first in the 4th. Oh, this is a lovely, exciting little battle here. What a start to the new archery season. What a start to the 4th set from the Puerto Rican here on home soil. So drop low and into the 8.
He looks solid at full draw, but just dropping it down low and left in the 8. A little bit more movement here, longer holes, and you see the bow just moving around a little bit.
Big opportunity here for Munoz, a 10, and he will go clear in this one. Ooh, did that hit his first arrow? Whatever, it is a 27, so a 10 required to share the points here and stay level. That's drifted up and to the right, and the thing about this is the spread of the arrows now is becoming ever so much more wide, and that is a 5-2 lead for the Puerto Rican. Now, is this... We've talked about the conditions, Nikki, but I'm starting to sense that there's a little bit of nerves here.
Yeah, 5-3 lead it will be. Yeah, there's certainly some nerves, isn't there? You know, Lopez looked so strong and solid to begin with, but he seems to just be holding that much longer, and you can see the shaking, you can see what impact that has on his bow. If you look particularly at the long rod pointing out from the bow, you can see how much movement there is. So that's all affecting the aiming of the shot and the dynamics of the shot. So yeah, can he come back now? Because he's going to have to win this next set outright.
But are you seeing a little bit of the same in Munoz as well? I mean, I know he won the set points, but they both seem to be affected a little bit by the pressure of this situation.
Yeah, there's certainly pressure from both of them. Sometimes on your home soil, you've got everyone cheering for you as well. You're very aware of that, so it can be hard to put that out of your mind.
Well, 5-3, Munoz, the Puerto Rican, leads on home soil, going for gold in the second world ranking event of the new archery season. Marco Lopez here of Guatemala City will shoot first in the 5th. He needs to win this outright to force a shoot off. Now, given how these arrows have been flying, a 9 is not a bad start.
Again, we see this long hold, a bit of movement of the bow. Not bad though, just that low 9, making that sight adjustment.
The door is wide open here now. A 9 will be enough to force a shoot off. Very, very relaxed last arrow there. The 26 is achievable with a 10. Can he get gold with a 10? He can! What a finish there from Adrian Munoz. He needed the 10 to level the set. 6 points is what you need for the win. And Adrian Munoz, the 20-year-old from Puerto Rico, has won the gold medal here on home soil. There is a little bit of a conversation going on at the moment, but handshakes there. The Puerto Rican has taken it. Adrian Munoz has taken gold at the Puerto Rico Archery Cup of 2022. Nicky, what a finish there. He'd only scored 2 10s in the match up to that point. Needed a 10 to draw level under huge pressure, and he did just that. And look at the celebrations. What a performance on home soil.
Absolute dream finish, wasn't it? And you've got to get a 10 to take the match. I mean, if he didn't get that 10, we would have gone to a shootout, 1 hour shootout between these two, which would have been so intense. And if I were him, I'd be taking this off the internet and be watching it over and over again. That glory shot when you get that perfect arrow just as you want to at the right time. Just keep reliving that moment.
Oh, what a session of archery. What a treat to start the season. Back-to-back events, one in Thailand and this one in Puerto Rico. A brilliant way to conclude the first weekend of live international archery action in this new season. And to finish with a gold medalist on home soil is a real treat for every neutral out there. It's been Mexico's tournament here in Puerto Rico up until this point, and now everyone will look back on the Puerto Rico Archery Cup of 2022 and remember the name, Adrian Munoz.
Estamos aquí en el Puerto Rico Archery Cup y estamos aquí con la medallista de oro de recurvo femenino individual, Alejandra Valencia de México. Felicidades primero que todo, ¿cómo te sientes luego de esta victoria?
Pues la verdad feliz, o sea, sí es una competencia que estuvo un poco difícil para mí porque estoy trabajando muchas cosas técnicamente y me costó, digamos, como más de lo que normalmente me costaría, pero aprendí muchas cosas con eso, ¿no? Y también de que se está haciendo el trabajo bien, que los cambios a veces, aunque parezca que te cuestan, son para algo mejor, entonces es mantener la paciencia y seguir adelante. Y la verdad sí es eso, yo creo que así lo resumiría la competencia como interesante, estoy emocionada de haberlo logrado y también de toda la experiencia que gané.
Y tuvimos una final, Valentina Vasquez contigo, así que México sin duda en buenas manos. Muchas felicidades para ti en esta victoria, esta medalla de oro. Y tenemos al de la casa, tenemos a Adrian Munoz, que ganó la medalla de oro aquí en Bayamón, en Puerto Rico. Felicidades, ¿cómo te sientes luego de esta victoria?
Me siento bien porque esto lo hago por la gente de Puerto Rico, mira lo alegre que están y de verdad que eso a mí me llena de orgullo.
Tuviste un encuentro sumamente difícil, la presión encima por ser nuevamente el local, ¿Cuáles son las próximas metas para Adrian Munoz luego de esta victoria?
Pues seguir creciendo porque todavía me falta mucho, me quiero seguir midiendo ante grandes arqueros porque quiero ser como uno de ellos y nada, seguir dando la alegría a la gente de Puerto Rico.
¿Y qué significa para Adrian Munoz hacer esto al frente de su familia en Puerto Rico? O sea, no solamente ganaste una medalla de oro, que es bastante complejo de por sí, sino también en tu propia casa.
Nervios de punta, estaba temblando. Estaba temblando porque obviamente uno quiere hacer una buena ejecución frente a la gente de aquí. Y nada, se me dio gracias a Dios, de verdad.
Así que una medalla de oro. Tenemos aquí a los medallistas de oro de recurvo femenino y masculino. Alejandra Valencia de México y Adrian Munoz de Puerto Rico. Así que estamos sumamente felices de lo que ha sido a Puerto Rico Archery Cup. Muchas gracias a ustedes por estar aquí con nosotros y nosotros les llevamos a nuestra mesa principal.
Well, the smile tells us everything about what Adrian Munoz of Puerto Rico thinks about winning his first senior medal, a gold one on home soil. Nikki Hunt, what a tournament here. Your thoughts, your highlights from this tournament?
Yeah, I think the highlight, seeing Adrian win on home soil, fantastic, brilliant reaction from the crowd. But the upset for me, Daphne Quintero beating Sara Lopez in the women's compound.
Yeah, we're just getting a look at that. She took the compound women's gold. It was Rodrigo Alvera of Mexico, her compatriot, took the compound men's gold. Mexico got a trio of golds with Alejandra Valencia taking the recurve women's gold. But the superstar of the day has got to be Puerto Rico's very own Adrian Munoz taking the recurve men's gold here at the second world ranking event of the season. Nikki, thank you very much for your company. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. And thanks to all of you for watching. Nikki and I are off for a planter's punch, but do come back and join us for more live archery action here on World Archery TV.